This is Asake Online. Welcome to Agriculture on Site. Today we're in the world of beekeeping and honey production. My guest today is Mr. Welcome Bhila, who's the Chief Technical Director of Bees Company, an enterprise based here in Mulawai that is actually in all matters honey production. Mr. Bhila, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Bafana, and thank you, Asaki, for having us online.
What motivated you to actually go into beekeeping?
It's a question that everyone asks. I'm now used to it. Generally, I'm an animal lover. There's no point in time where I've stayed without a dog at any point in time. But then growing up, I grew up with my uncle, who is a veterinary doctor. So he's the one actually who paid for my first beekeeping training in 2008. Then from then, I slowly started developing an interest with bees. And it's something that was unique. And, the fear that everyone has around bees, that's also made me go deeper into it. Then 2013, I went full-time into bees. Up to now, I haven't stopped.
So you're an adventurous seeker, and I would say somebody who fears nothing. So then, how did you actually start?
Okay. First, when I started, I didn't want to. I didn't think I would get to where I am now. It's something that I was doing as a hobby, whether I would just do beehives, set up, attract bees. Then 2014, Zimbabwe was hosting the RP Expo. Then the interest grew much bigger. Then by then there's a company that I was working for in Harare. Then we attended the RP Expo and we came up as the overall exhibitor. Then also there was the issue of family. My family was down here in Blaawai. Then when I came down, that's when I started Bees Honey Company in 2016.
What does Bees Honey's company really do? So is this a company that makes honey, or is it a company that keeps bees?
Okay, the way how Bees Honey Company is structured, it cuts across the whole value chain of the apiculture business. So we've got services that we offer. We train beekeepers, individuals, groups, anyone who's got an interest in beekeeping. Then we also offer bee removal services. Then we also offer consultancy and assessment. Then also recently we've introduced our pollination services, which is something that is very critical as we are an agriculture nation. Our crops need that essential service. Then we also supply all beekeeping equipment as far as beekeeping is concerned. And we also offer products. One of our main products here, Bees Pure Honey. Then also supply beeswax, propolis, pollen, and we are also going to add quite a number of the more sophisticated ones, the royal jelly, your bee venom, into our line soon.
What would you need to learn in order for you to actually run, a beekeeping as a business? Because I don't think it's just it can be a side hustle.
Well, it can be. It can be a very sweet and rewarding side hustle. But there are certain aspects that we say you should have the skill, because the major important skill that you need to have is attracting the bees into the hives. Because I'm sure you can allow me to introduce my program. This program, what we are doing, we are working with universities, we are working with all the stakeholders whom we think are relevant to beekeeping. Because if you look in the modern world, there is now what they call queen bee breeding, whereby you can buy your queens as long as the methods that have been used in breeding the queens are internationally accepted. Like you've got your methods that you can use for queen bee breeding. Us, we won't be going with artificial insemination at the moment, because it's not considered an organic method when it comes to organic certification. Because when you do artificial insemination, you are now selecting males for your queens. So it's not something that is considered ethical when we want to go organic way, because you are now not giving the bees the chance to choose the males that they want. So there are certain methods that we are going to be using. We are going to work with our local universities, one of some of the top universities in the country, whereby we are going to come up with methods of breeding bees. So by when as a farmer comes to say, I want to start beekeeping, we'll give them an option to either buy the seed, the colonies. And also we have to monitor that the colonies that will be breeding are not, do not have a high characteristic of absconding. That's absconding is a process whereby you've introduced the bees into a hive and they leave the hive. Because as they leave the hive, it's like you've bought your cow, you've taken it to your makaya, then kusasa you wake up and they tell you your cow is gone.
I thought it's taken for granted that when you have a hive, then the bees just naturally will come into the hive. But is there something that needs to be done for you to actually attract the hives and to retain the bees in the hive?
Okay, Bafana, I'll say, you see, the way our bees live and how we live as humans is the same. It's only that the small insect, we look at them and say, oh, wow, it's small. But the way our bees live and the way how we humans live is the same. So if you're going to build a house, let's say you are into real property, then you build your house, then you just put it there and say, the tenants will come and you sit. Then there's a problem. It's going to take years without someone occupying it. So it's the same. If we're going to be doing beehives, that's accommodation that we are giving to the bees, which they will pay in turn their rentals with the honey that we're going to harvest from them. Right. So we have to encourage the bees to say, this is a nice home. It has got everything that you need, just like you see when people are advertising hotels, they tell you there's Wi-Fi, there's swimming pool, aircon, things like that. So the beehives that we are making are in such a manner that they attract the bees and they are very welcoming, to say.
Right. So what kind of hives, say if somebody is actually interested in really going picking, what type of or types of hives are there that they can actually use? And can people actually make their own hives?
Okay, the main common one that we are using in Zim is called the Kenyan Toba hive, the V1. We've seen all sorts of the design and all explanations, some stretching to as big as 2 meters. Someone say once they fill the hive, I'll be having much production. But there are things that you need to understand when you're doing hive construction. People can make their own. You can buy one, copy a design, but there are things that you need to seriously stick to the measurements. Well, the V design, it has got its own reason why it's V-shaped. As the bees are hanging the comb, the weight is more at the top, and as it goes down with the V-shape, the weight is less. So the bees do not attach the comb to the wall of the hive. So when you are doing your inspection, it's easy. When you lift your top bars, the whole comb comes out. Then you've seen the rectangle ones, but now they also have got their disadvantages. The rectangular one, they call them the Tanzanian top bars. Because they are rectangular, the height or the distance from the top to the bottom is equal. So you find that the weight of the comb, if it's not attached to the wall, it will break. So the bees attach it to the wall. So now when you're working with that type of hive, when you lift the bars, the comb will break. And when the comb breaks, the honey will spill and it will attract ants because it's not smelling. So the Tanzanian toba is not very common. Then we've got... So the Kenyan toba is the toba system. Then we've got the frame system, the Langstroth hive, which is also now coming to become popular because it has got its advantage. I usually like comparing the two as the Kenyan toba, I want to call it your Honda Fit. Then your Langstroth beehive, I want to call it your Mac. So For beginners, we encourage them to use the Kenyan toba. One, maybe the area that you are starting your beekeeping has got no history of beekeeping. You cannot go and buy something expensive and put it and say, I will see what happens. So what we are encouraging people, what we encourage, they go in with their Kenyan toba. It's simple, it's cheaper, and it's easy to work with, even for beginners. So we give an option to say, okay, this is our best option. But then there's someone who will come to say, okay, as new as I am, as fresh as I am, I'll go for a Mac. Even if I smash it, it's okay. I'll pay the expenses. I'll face the consequences. Then it's still okay. But if you are using your Kenyan tobas, they will give you good honey, and also it gives you a chance to get more beeswax. So it's a situation whereby we tell you the advantage, the disadvantage of that one, then the advantage of either of the two hives, then someone will say, I am going to go with this one. But you see, even how we live, you've got people who always have got an eye for something beautiful, no matter how expensive. Someone will tell you,
This is what I want.
This is what I want.
Yeah.
So,
But interestingly, there, I want to find out, when you now have your hive, can you actually do your beekeeping anywhere? Is there need for a particular place, location where you place your hive? Or you can just, because I've seen people actually have a hive, up a tree or near a shade somewhere. Is location of actually the hive important?
well, if you're going to open a bar, you have to consider the market. If you're going to open a church, you have to consider the location. It's only nowadays when you are seeing these funny setups where you've got a church, a bar, and a funeral parlor in the same line. But if you look at these things, how they were done in a systematic way, because they were things that they were considering. Okay, so if you are going to do your beekeeping, you have to do it in such a manner that you are looking at your bees. What do they want? What do they need for their survival? What do they need for them to make honey? And also considering that bees sting is a fact, and you also have people who are seriously allergic, then you also have to factor that in. So if you are considering your beekeeping, you need to identify the water source. The bees use water in most of their operations. If it's hot, they use it for cooling inside the hive. They also use it for mixing their honey because honey is their food, so they also need water. So water is the main thing that you need to identify. Then also the flowers. You've mentioned that you've seen some hives up trees. Maybe the people have considered that maybe the area, there are other enemies of bees, like maybe theft, maybe they are honey badgers. But us now, we are in the 21st century. We are inviting women to be part of beekeeping. We advise them to mount their hives at a workable height. If you're going to be harvesting your honey up a tree, imagine putting on your gumshoes, your gloves, your bee suit, and up a tree. Any silly mistake, you're gone. It's given. Then if your hives are mounted at a workable height, then you can work on the ground, you can do your grading, you can see what you're harvesting, what's inside the hive, how your bees are working, and also you'll be putting on your regalia comfortably.
So I'm sensing here that yes, you have your hive now, and then you have your bees in, and let's say now you have actually your honey. When do you actually harvest, and then how do you actually process? What's involved there?
Okay, depending on which type of hive you have, if you're using the Kenyan toba hive, you can use your solar extractor, you can use your honey press, you can use, if you are in the rural areas, you don't have most of these things, you can also use what we call the floating method, whereby you can just chop your honey, put it over a bucket, or maybe with a sieve, or I wouldn't want to mention about mutton cloth at the moment because honey is food, and high standards of hygiene should be applied, you know. So we've got your nylon sieves specifically for your honey that you can use for sieving your honey. So basically how we do our honey, it's pressing, sieving or filtering, then leaving it to settle, then it's ready for the market.
How do you actually ensure the quality, of honey, or how do you actually determine quality? Because I've had cases where you're actually on the streets, you are buying anything, everything is written honey. How do you tell that this is real honey, this is a syrup, or this could be fake honey? Because I know, like, let's take here, I see it's written premium quality, 100%. Are there any safeguards?
Like I've said, we've got these institutions that we have, which I think they are doing a disservice. They can be doing some of these tests at an affordable margin, whereby even as consumers, the fact that when they feel they've been duped, they can easily get tests done. I've had people calling us, I want to buy this honey, how do I check if it's pure honey? Well, yeah, Bafana, you can see a woman standing there, very beautiful, but the moment you put her in the house, then you say, oh my God, why did I put myself into? Something will be labeled there, very attractive and looking very appetizing. But the moment you open, you find that there's no value for money. It's fake or diluted or adulterated, as we would say. Honey is one of the top adulterated products in the world. So you find that people are seeing that there's a gap, whereby us as beekeepers, as honey producers, we're failing to fill. So what do people do? They go and get the fake product and try to fill the gap. And who is at the suffering end? It's us, the real beekeepers. We are at the suffering end.
But I'm keen then, as a consumer, can I tell that I've bought fake honey? Is there a test that or you rely really on the bottling, on the labeling?
Well, the first thing that I would say is you have to trust the source. That's number one. For you to tell that this is pure honey, it's after testing. And most of the time when I test some of these so-called bad honeys, I have a running stomach because I don't know whatever that they use to test. So when I still had the verve, I would quickly test, open test, then say, no, it's not pure honey. Then now it's like, no, where did you buy it? If you feel it's not the right product, you can test this one, compare, then people say, yeah, no, this is it. I say, no, it's okay. But it also comes to say, okay, you can go into the street, you can buy whatever that you buy in the street, but there's always issues with the street. But I'm not saying everything that you find on the street is bad, but there are certain things that you cannot buy from the street. Even if you buy a shoe from the street, it will take you somewhere, but it's for a certain period. But then if you are going to buy a shoe from an accredited, a reliable source, a trusted source, you know that it's going to last you a certain period. So I'm sure as consumers, as much as they want to save the dollar, but at the end of the day, most of the people who are consuming honey, it's for medicinal purposes. You see these days, they're going green, everyone wants to go natural. But I would advise the consumers to go to a trusted source.
Right. And looking at all this, maybe somebody would be interested to go into beekeeping. What does the cost involved? What's the initial investment that you could actually put in if you want to?
Okay. Well, for your training, you can budget around $20. You can get your basic beekeeping course. Then for your beers at a complete set, maybe you're looking at about $30. $30, that includes that's for your Kenyan Toba hive, with a metal stand and a lid with a zinc sheet top for the rain. It also gives your hives a longer lifespan. Then if you're just going for your beehive to say, you've got an uncle, I've got someone who would do the stands for me, I can do a makeshift lift, you're looking at about $15 per box. Yeah.
So given that, then maybe let's round off. What would you say then, given if you've actually invested, producing your honey, and you have actually the requisite skills, are there any challenges that you'd say a potential investor in beekeeping should actually be wary of?
Well, when you go into your beekeeping, just like you're going into your cattle farming or you're going into your broiler production, you need to know your market. Who is going to be your market? That's the major thing. Because at the end of the day, you produce very nice honey. Then you say, I was stuck. I've been in Kai, I've been in Lupane. People will tell you, the market. We used to do honey, but the market. And we are in the market and we are failing to supply some of the markets because we do not have the produce. So I'm sure the major thing that people need to identify first is the market. That's one of the things that have been brought about. I'm sure the markets were second after the knowledge and the accessibility of other resources, your bee suits, your other things that you use for beekeeping.
And just lastly, really, how big is the market for honey in Zimbabwe, and could even people think about going to exports?
I can comfortably say that there is a serious opportunity for export. I'm sure if you've been following most of our interactions, you see the awards that we have, they were part of an youth export incubation program that was run by Zimtrade. We got 2 awards there. So as that part of the program, why we also stood the chance and why they entertained us to the last end, they're still continuing to work with us and also opening other opportunities for us. We had inquiries of people wanting our product, Zimbabwean honey, on the export market. And at some point in time, I had to be assigned by another client, whereby they took us to Swaziland. We collected some honey samples in Swaziland. We collected some honey samples in Zambia. Then we collected some samples from Gokwe, Lupane. And I can tell you the Lupane sample came up tops. But now going in for the volumes, we were very disappointed. We couldn't fulfill the market. So it was actually a very good market. It was a contract whereby we supply 30 tons of honey per month. And the client wanted us to sign a contract to say we will be able to supply. Then we had to say, no, guys, we can't go in. We know the implications if we fail to supply. Let us go back and do our homework. So which is what we are still working on to say how best are we going to say we are going to fulfill these markets. So as for the export market, our product is good. And what we also need to know is that even if we are going to produce as a country, there are some areas that are going to produce honey that is not going to be accepted on the export market. But there is no honey that won't get market as long as it's pure honey.
Right. Yeah, so there is a sweet potential in actually honey production and in beekeeping. People will be interested to actually learn more or even become actually beekeepers. Where can they contact you?
Okay, I'm available on my cell phone, mobile, which is 0773 282 842. Maybe for the benefits of those in the diaspora, it's +263 773 282 842. And I'm also available on Net1, which is +263 712 938 992. All the contacts are available on WhatsApp, and I'm also available via email, which is bees, BEES, and honey, comp, short for company, which is bees, honey, comp, comp@gmail.com.
And where are you located really? We have a factory?
Okay, our town office is at number 146 Herbert Temple, opposite Goodfellas Pub, next to LH's Hardware in Blawayo. Then in Harare, we are inside the Harare Showgrounds by the ZCFU office. You know. Then our major plant is by our plot, which is plot 63 Mopani Farm. Soon, if you are going to be using the airport road, you will be seeing the signage to our plot soon.
There you are. There are opportunities for money in honey. My guest today was actually Welcome Bhila, who is the Chief Technical Director at Bees Honey Company, a company that actually produces honey and is also involved in the whole value chain of training and also facilitating the production of other products from actually beekeeping. Join us again for our another episode where we're actually going to be discussing pertinent issues relating to actually agriculture and actually entrepreneurship. This is Asake.